A medical esthetician's top ordinary picks. This is your guide to the best products from The Ordinary that work not only on my skin, but on other people's skin that I recommend all the time. And kind of what sets The Ordinary apart, both as a brand and then even from some of the products in their line and how they differ from some of the others. These are the absolute best that I've been currently loving, including some of their new stuff. And we've got to talk about which ones actually make the cut. The Ordinary is really known for their serums, but they also have things like cleansers or toners that we will have to talk about. Let's start with the serums though. One of the best Ordinary products of all time is the Niacinamide and Zinc serum. This is an absolute bestseller, and every single time I do like what I call market research, where I basically just go into Ulta and Sephora and ask them what the top selling products are, almost always, especially in the serum categories, The Ordinary comes up, and it's the Niacinamide and Zinc. There have also been articles written about this online, but this is super popular, and it's because of how well it works on specifically oily skin, but it even works for dry skin types too. This entire bottle is under $10. A little goes a long way. But this niacinamide and zinc PCA is fantastic to help regulate sebum production in the skin. Remember, sebum is that oil that our skin makes. It can be a little bit bothersome, especially when it leads to blackheads or to enlarged looking pores. Niacinamide can't shrink pores, but it can make pores appear smaller. It's also called vitamin B3. And what's great about niacinamide is it can also help with a little bit of pigmentation. So it doesn't stop your skin from producing pigment, but it doesn't allow your skin cells to spread the pigment, which is amazing. Now the zinc PCA in here is why I love this for anyone with acne-prone skin, and I use it on myself and others all the time. The zinc PCA does help to regulate oil production and is really good for blemish-prone skin. Now, if you're dry, you can still use this. I'd recommend layering it with a moisturizer, but for anyone oily or combination, this is amazing. For Olivia Rodrigo, this is amazing because she uses this. And even if you have dry skin, layer it with a moisturizer, but this is so fantastic for a healthy skin barrier, and you can use it under moisturizer or without one. This is also something that you can use day and night, depending on how it fits best into your routine. Now, this has gone viral so many times, but this one I barely hear anyone talking about. This is like a little secret weapon. It's kind of like a little pocket friend, and it's my Pycnogenol 5%. This is fantastic. It's a super potent antioxidant serum that I feel really rivals vitamin C and can often be better than vitamin C, because some people have issues with like the stinging and the burning of the Ascorbic acid, which is what's in a lot of vitamin C serums, and it is the vitamin C active. This Pycnogenol is super tiny, but super mighty, and I love this, especially for morning time. This right here has this dark amber color because it's literally made from pine trees. And this is an antioxidant serum that you can literally just take 1 or 2 dots and you can apply it to the skin right as you start your day. This can help slightly boost up sunscreen. This can protect you from free radical damage. So basically, if you live in a polluted city or if you're someone who's out and about all day, this is so nice to have on hand or on skin. And it's inexpensive but effective. It also has kind of an earthy smell. So like if you're super sensitive to smells, be careful. It is fragrance free, so it smells like the actual formula. But I absolutely love this, especially under sunscreen. You can use this day or night. I recommend it in the morning now because it kind of gives a boost to sunscreen. And for anyone who just can't use vitamin C, either because certain formulas burn their skin or the ones that don't burn their skin are too oily on the skin, this guy is an antioxidant powerhouse. So good. Thanks for telling me I missed a spot. Sorry about that. Speaking of vitamin C, we have to talk about this L-ascorbic acid powder. This is something that I think can be difficult for many people to use, and it's not a top seller because a lot of people don't know how to use this. But as a medical esthetician, I love mixing this for myself or for other people who can handle it. Now, L-ascorbic acid is vitamin C, but there are many different forms of vitamin C. This one happens to be the least stable, and it can be a little bit stingy, but when you get it fresh, it is potent. The Ordinary decided to just package up the ascorbic acid powder, put a little spoolie doohickey in it, and sell it. Now, of course, this is kind of how they get it from the lab, and when most brands are selling a vitamin C serum, it's literally this powder that is mixed in with a formula, but the issue is that it can go bad really quickly. So this is kind of a medical ST fave because if I really want to use ascorbic acid on someone, I can mix it up right in front of them really quick. Remember that ascorbic acid is water soluble, so it's going to work better with water-based formulas. With oil-based formulas, it's going to feel kind of gritty. But if you want pure ascorbic acid for yourself, or you're someone who gives treatments to others regularly and you need a potent source of L-ascorbic acid, and you're not going to go buy a 55-gallon drum of it the way a manufacturer might, website, you can get this and start custom mixing skincare for yourself or for your clients. Now, this is fantastic, but again, it can be a little bit stingy, so just keep that in mind. But it's kind of a hidden gem that has grown on me over the years. When I first started using it, I wasn't enamored by it. There's the niacinamide powder that I really wasn't liking, but this has grown on me and it's very versatile if you know how to use it well. And if you don't, we actually have a video on that. You can check it out here. Also, the price of this is phenomenal. Like, everything has gone up in price. We know that. Inflation has come down, but that doesn't mean that prices come down, right? It's just the rate at which the prices grow has come down. But prices still be expensive. And the fact that this is still affordable, pretty shocking. Peptides. The Ordinary actually has some great peptides, from matrixyl to copper to this. And this is what we need to talk about, because The Ordinary had a product called the Buffet. And I think that confused people because it was like a buffet. It was a blend of peptides, but no one really knew what that meant. And they were like, what? Like, does my face eat it? No, your face doesn't have a GI tract. But it does have pores that can absorb peptides and hyaluronic acid. This has got both, and this is so good. This is kind of a tried and true. And I love this for mature skin. I love this for dry skin, and you can use this on oily skin as well. This you can use day or night, and unlike the Pycnogenol and vitamin C, while I prefer these during the day, I actually kind of prefer this at night. This is hydrating, this is soothing, and this is their rebranded Buffet serum, essentially. And the hyaluronic acid in here, it's not overly sticky, like it doesn't irritate the face, and it doesn't dry the skin out more. There's some conversation about how certain hyaluronic acids can dry out the skin, but there's also new research about how exactly hyaluronic acid at different weights works within the skin. And one analogy that The Ordinary's chief scientific communicator actually said is that hyaluronic acid is not a magnet. It's not sucking water out from your skin or from elsewhere into your skin. It's more like a Velcro mesh. It's kind of creating this little filter on top and holding things in. This is also made with water, so with hydration, so it actually gives that to your skin. And it's a nice hydrating serum that I love to finish off a treatment with or to use at night. Again, this is the big bottle because I go through it, especially when I use it on others. I just use this on myself though, because it's a new bottle. I have separate bottles that I use in clinic on clients versus myself, but I guess this is going to be for myself now. Oh, oopsies. Oh, what a mistake. Oh no. Oh, must I keep this? Oh, what a tragedy. This is such a fantastic serum. It can be plumping to the skin. It can help with fine lines and wrinkles, especially the ones that come from dehydration. That's what this is great for. And it can really help with barrier and skin support. However, if we want to talk about barrier repair, we got to talk about this pink stuff. I was kind of on the fence. I was like, should I include this in my top picks or not? Because it is newer. So this is the one that I would say I'm least confident about, just because I've used it for the least amount of time, but it has grown on me. When I first got this, I liked it, but I didn't love it. And I felt like it was a serum moisturizer for oily skin. But I've shared with you that outside of my professional work, on a personal note, oh, I've been going through it and it just doesn't stop. Like the things keep coming, like keeps flying, okay? And it's rough and I am dealing, but I've also noticed that my skin has kind of changed. Like it almost feels a little bit drier and it goes through like dry patches. It might also be because of tears, because that can be dehydrating to the skin with the salt. But this Soothing Barrier Serum is one that I've liked, but I've really started to love it, especially as I use it on others who have different skin. When I use it on people who have dry skin, I have to use it with a moisturizer. But when I use this on people with oily skin, they can just kind of use it and go, just the way that I used to be able to. And I do want to play around with it for a bit longer, but for $16, $17, this is really good. And it's also really fun to apply to someone to show them how it works, and then even to apply it to myself. Like if you can have fun with your skincare routine in the morning or in the evening, it's just better off overall. This can be used morning or evening, and the color in here is actually from the vitamin B12. Vitamin B12 is called cyanocobalamin, and it's naturally a pink color, so there's no like artificial dyes or anything in here. But it's B12, it has a bunch of other antioxidants, and it does help to soothe out your skin barrier. They say that it helps support a healthy skin barrier, and I can see that, but I do want to use it for longer. At the same time, I feel like it's really grown kind of up the list of my favorite products very quickly, which is unusual because I'm very picky. But from the way that I've used this to the way that people respond when I put it on them, this is fab. This is really, really good, and it does make it to a medical esthetician top 10. Another top 10 we got to talk about is an old tried and true. This also went through a rebrand. This is the old bottle. This is the Glycolic acid 7% toning solution. They basically made a mini, and it's a toner that you can use on the face or even on the scalp. Now, this is amazing, and it is 7%, so it is intense. You shouldn't necessarily use this every day, but from the application to the formula to the price, this is just great. Glycolic acid is an alpha hydroxy acid, and it's one of the smallest ones, so it can actually penetrate pretty deep. It helps to exfoliate, but it doesn't dehydrate the skin the way that something like a BHA might. This is especially great for people with dry skin who want to exfoliate. Like, this is something that can be used during the winter. Of course, with any acid, you need to use a sunscreen during the day and you need to use like a moisturizer after, or a good one at night. But I love doing this if I'm not going to do like a scaling solution or extractions or anything. And this can really help to brighten the skin. It can help to remove a couple of like dead skin cells and buildup. And it works great for dry skin, but also for oily skin. And I have an oily scalp. I love using this in my scalp. I actually did a live stream and I basically doused my entire scalp. I doused my entire head in glycolic acid toning solution. And I loved every second of it. But this is a phenomenal choice from The Ordinary, but you should use it at night, not during the day, because again, it is an acid. So always use it in the evening and then sunscreen responsibly the next day. Now, you know how we mentioned how alpha hydroxy acids can be hydrating exfoliants? Well, beta hydroxy acids are a little bit different, and you might know them as salicylic acid. This is so good. One of my absolute favorites as a medical aesthete and as just a person who uses and consumes skincare, The Ordinary's AHA BHA peel. This blood red vampire looking thing is a 10-minute exfoliating facial that is so good. I actually do this on clients in clinic, especially if they don't want a full chemical peel, they want like a flash one. This is a fragrance-free option that I rely on, and I share with them how to do it so they can take it home. And then if you wanted to do this at home, patch test first, but you totally can. You can start off with 1 minute before you do all 10, but this is so good. I've used this so many times, so many ways, but you should always follow manufacturer's instructions. And this blood red peel has gone viral so many times because, well, number one, it's fun to do, but number two, it actually gives you results. Skin looks clearer, it looks more fresh, it looks glowy, it looks hydrated, it helps with blackheads and acne because of that BHA. And especially if you do this regularly over time, it can really help with skin resurfacing. You know, I struggled with bad acne for so many years, and I do think it's because of many of the treatments I've done, including chemical peels, including this one for the past 3 years, almost nonstop, that my acne scars do not look as indented or as obvious as they could be. If I didn't do a lot of these treatments to my skin, I don't think my scars would be in the condition that they are. And even if you look at my skin like in the light and I smile, you can kind of see that areas of it look like sourdough bread. But especially after I use this peel, my skin, my pores, they just all look better. And other people have noticed that too, which is why this is a favorite. Of course, don't use this and go in the sun, use this at night, and then sunscreen responsibly the next day. Now, the AHA BHA peeling solution is fantastic because it has that salicylic acid, but sometimes there are people who have dry skin and acne, and that's really rough to treat because a lot of acne treatments, including BHA, can be a little bit more drying. Well, The Ordinary has an anhydrous salicylic acid. This is basically BHA in oil. And I'm so happy they launched this because this is so good. It has no water in it, so it's anhydrous, an meaning not or against, and hydrous relating to hydra or water. So there's no water in this formula. And if you're someone who loves a good oil serum, but you have acne, and you're like, I'm so dry, I love an oil, and it breaks me out every time, this is gonna be a best friend. They also have a regular salicylic acid serum that I think is better for oily prone skin, but as a medical esthetician, I need something for every skin type that comes in and lays down on the bed, right? I need something special for each person's needs or for my own needs. And especially as my skin changes over time and over experiences that I have, I need to adapt my skincare routine to fix my current concerns or my current desires. And there is not a lot for dry skin and acne out there the way there is for oily skin and acne. So the fact that The Ordinary has this and at such a great price is amazing. And again, because I'm more oily, or usually more oily until I started breaking down and having mental breakdowns again this year, I don't actually have one of these bottles on my own shelf in my own routine, but I do have one that I use clinically and in a sanitary environment for clients. And this is a fan favorite. And if you're an esthetician, you always want to make sure that you have something like this so that you can adapt to some of those curveball cases, is kind of what they call them, for people who do have some slightly unusual or different needs. And we got to talk about azelaic acid, because sometimes people don't like acids. They don't respond well to BHAs and AHAs. Azelaic acid is phenomenal for acne and for pigmentation. So azelaic acid is actually a dicarboxylic acid. It's made naturally by our bodies. This is my own, and can you see that I spilled coffee on it? Because of course I did. Of course I did, right? But salicylic acid can be derived from rye bread, or our cells make it naturally. And what's great about azelaic acid is that it is pregnancy safe. This in higher concentrations is a prescription, but you can get this over the counter. And there are other azelaic acids that I would say I like the formula better, like Paula's Choice. They have a little green one that I love, but this azelaic acid suspension is so good for the price. It's under $10, and for anyone who has rosacea that is diagnosed by a doctor or a derm, anyone who has redness in the skin, anyone who wants a pregnancy safe acne option, this is so good. It kind of feels like a moisturizer on the skin, so this is one that's not a serum, but you can layer this with other serums, or you could put this on first as a serum step and then use a really thick moisturizer over the top if you are someone who has dry skin, or if you're you're working with someone who has dry skin. This is so good. It is a 10%, so it's a decent amount. And the best part is that you can use this little skin hero morning or evening. Very versatile. Absolutely phenomenal. This is definitely like very close to the top of the list. I would say that this is in the top 5. Now, do we want to talk about something creamy, something blue, or something cleansing? Let's talk about the cleanser first. This is also relatively new from The Ordinary, but this has to be one of my favorites. This right here is the Glucoside Foaming Cleanser. And if you are looking for a simple, effective, and affordable cleanser, this is one of the best. The Ordinary previously had their Squalane cleanser, which is more of an oil cleanser. I personally wasn't a fan of it for my skin. This has very quickly replaced many of my other cleansers as a favorite. When I use this on myself, it's nice, it's gentle, it's foaming, it's still hydrating, but it breaks down dirt and gunk and sunscreen really well. And the Glucoside foam in here is also very, very gentle, and it's really only got like 5 ingredients and no fragrance. And I can actually use this as a body cleanser as well. The Ordinary does sell a hair and body cleanser that is very similar, but I do like this better for my face and then for the body too. Now, what's phenomenal is that I can also use this on others. Now, this is very niche esthetician, but hear me out. But I want to know if this has ever happened to you as well, whether or not you're nesty. Do you ever have this issue with certain cleansers that they cleanse the skin well? It looks like they're removing dirt and makeup and sunscreen, but they leave a film on the skin, or especially around the hairline where it can be hard to cleanse, they kind of leave a little bit of a gunk or a film. That is one of the worst things that happens in the aesthetic chair. Actually, the worst thing is physical scrubs that leave behind beads or getting a mask in somebody's hair. Terrible. Second worst is like leaving a cleanser on someone's face and not being able to break it down and remove it. And it just sits on the skin. It prevents the next products from penetrating. It's awful. And if you use a bad cleanser as an esthetician, or if you use a cleanser that doesn't work for your client's skin type, awful. Have you ever gotten a facial and experienced that? Like, you're like, oh my God, this is the worst. And again, masks that are left in your hair, or like the gritty, nasty, sandpapery scrubbies, those are even worse. I get it. But like cleanser, ugh, I hate it. And I never want to put someone through that. What's amazing about this is that this is so easy to remove. And even if you did find out that you missed a spot like a minute or two later, a little bit of water on a damp cloth, you can get this off so much easier than so many other cleansers. And it leaves the skin feeling hydrated without a film. Sometimes on myself, I like a little bit of a hydrating film left behind, or if I'm using like a product that leaves a hydrating film specifically, kind of like something like a micellar water, which yes, I have resorted to as of this year. But there are certain things, such as a micellar water that has an active, like a vitamin C, that I will actually look for. But if I want the skin to be a clean canvas, literally prepped and ready to absorb everything I'm going to put on it next, this cleanser has been one of the best. And again, inexpensive, works so well. It foams without stripping the skin. Mwah! I love this. This was an amazing launch that they did early this year. Now, should we talk about something blue or something creamy? Let's talk about something creamy. I'm so sad that this isn't available in Canada because this is an Esty Bestie. This has been one of my favorites for years and it still is. This is the Granactiv Retinoid 2% Emulsion. And with retinoids, you can usually find them in creams. You can find them, as these yellow formulas. You can find them in oil, but it's hard to find a retinoid that really works for oily skin, that absorbs well, but is still creamy, right? Not like a full-on moisturizer, but for a retinoid serum, something that soaks in well and is not an oil. This is the answer, especially for the price. The Ordinary does retinoids really, really well. They also give you options on the percentages. So again, as a professional, I can use and play and kind of titrate, or I can titrate someone up or down if I need to, but this is phenomenal. This has Granactiv retinoid as well as retinol. And look at this creamy texture. It's so good. It works on dry skin, it works on oily skin, it works on combo skin, and I love this, especially if someone has fine lines and wrinkles, or if someone has acne-prone skin. And blackheads, this works really well for both. Now, this is amazing. You can use this morning or evening, but sun does break down retinoids, so I would say evening is probably going to be your best bet. But this is absolutely such a beautiful one, and I wish this were available in Canada. I don't know why it's not. It has something to do with the Canadian government, but this formula is tried and true. And if you haven't gotten your hands on this, probably one of the best like bang for your buck options, just because retinoids have been proven time and time again in medicine and medical studies to be so effective for skin cell renewal, for skin cell turnover, basically plumping up the deep layers of the skin, fine lines, for wrinkles, for acne, for the marks that acne leaves behind, the hyperpigmentation. Even rosacea can sometimes benefit from a retinoid depending on the skin. Talk to your doctor, of course, but like so good, so good. However, there is something blue that is beautiful. This was one of the last products from like the Ordinary's original offerings that I ever tried. The reason why was because it was the most expensive. This was like $30 like a couple years ago, and I was like, no, too expensive. Let's just say I understand why it's $30, okay? It is so good. good. This right here is the multi-peptide plus copper peptides 1% serum, and this blue comes naturally from the copper, and this is so good. If you have fine lines or wrinkles, if you need wrinkle support, if you need hydration, this is amazing for the skin. And the copper peptides can be really hard to come by. Depology has some great copper peptides, Biossance has some, but copper peptides are phenomenal at plumping up the skin. If you want plumped up skin, but you're not going in for fillers, or even if you are going in for fillers and you just want more, this can really plump and rehydrate the surface layers of the skin and actually support layers deep down. This is so amazing. I love that it's blue. It's like fun to use. I love this on myself, but I love this on others too. Oh, you know who else has a good copper peptide serum? What's it called? Peach and Lily. They just launched one. But again, comparing all of those prices to this, it's not the fanciest out of all of them, and it is the most expensive product that The Ordinary has, but it is honestly one of the best for the price, and it took me way too long to try and test this out. This is one of those that is best tolerated when used regularly, so like morning and evening if you're going to use this, or just evening or just morning. You do have to be a little bit careful about what you do or don't mix copper peptides with, or not mix, because you're not mixing them in your hand, but like what you layer them with, just because copper peptides are very wonderful, but can be a little bit finicky. But copper peptides have some amazing research behind them. We do need more, but the way that they plump the skin, the way that they work for fine lines, for wrinkles in a non-invasive manner, especially if you use copper peptides during the morning and then like a retinoid during the evening, talk about inexpensive anti-aging or graceful aging power couple. These are so good together. And the copper peptides, it is beautiful. I would say it's The Ordinary's like bougiest product because of the price, but it is effective. I love this little guy. Niod also has copper peptides. That is much more technology based. I actually want to know, have you tried any copper peptides before? Because I feel like everyone who's used them has a very strong opinion about them. And I need to hear what you have to say about this. So please leave that in the comments, as well as make sure to stay hydrated, both orally and topically. Reapply that SPF and be beautiful both inside and out. I hope you enjoyed learning about my favorites. I love you, and I can't wait to see you in this next video. Love you guys. Bye.